What's up, y'all, and welcome back to Dad Needs to Talk. I'm your host, Robert, and today we're just gonna have a quick little talk, because life is lifing, and stuff needs to be done, um, which I'll get to in a second. But as always, if this is your first time here, then welcome. But if you're a returning listener and/or watcher, then welcome back. Y'all know here at Danny's to Talk, it's a conversational show where I talk all about fatherhood and family, manga, anime, TV, movies, and video games, and anything else that might be on my mind. So this episode, I was already planning on doing something for today because I was just kind of a lucky 7/7, July 7th. I might even publish this up at 7:07 a.m. in the morning. I don't know, but I was already planning to do this because I've kind of had the theme, the title, the reset in my mind for a while, but a couple of things happened that kind of pushed me in a certain direction, um, and just kind of gave me a reality check because I guess in a way the universe or somebody or something is trying to communicate with me and remind me that there are things to be done, there are things that I need to do, and while as much as I am eager and passionate and have so many ideas and plans of what I want to do with the podcast and things of that nature, there are also things within my home, family stuff that I need to get in order as well. And I've kind of talked about that in some aspects or whatever. But and shout out, of course, I'm wearing my Jujutsu Kaisen t-shirt because summer anime is here, and I just watched a new episode. But we'll kind of touch on that stuff a little bit later. But it's like sometimes it's like you keep seeing kind of like repeated signs happening, or you kind of keep hearing the same message in different ways and stuff, and so it's kind of a lot of things kind of like culminated to a point of okay, hey, I'm hearing the message and need to move into action. And so I don't know 100%, but I'm probably going to chill on the podcast for a little bit. I've already kind of taken a step back from how I used to do whatever, but kind of maybe even taking back another stuff because I've talked about recently about like how I have stuff in the can to where I can put out and I'll be okay for a while. But it's like I can't really continue to keep doing the podcast and stuff, whatever. And granted, like I said, I haven't really been doing it that often, anyways, whatever. But it's just like, in some aspects, whatever, doing this and not having certain things in my home life and stuff in order. And so, kind of a lot of things kind of culminated in a simple thing today when I came home, and my youngest son Vash, who y'all know I talk about him all the time. Uh, but we had like my wife had like this like black kind of like the little like TV trays that stand up on the floor, whatever, that you can sit in a chair and sit to, whatever. It's been kind of dirty, a little bit for a while or whatever, but Vash just messed it up to made such a mess on it today to where it was like, no, this needs to get handled now. And that table, me getting that table clean, in a way was therapeutic in a way because and I just had a big family discussion with all my kids for probably like 30 minutes or an hour about a lot of this stuff, but it's like one of those things of a lot of times procrastinating and putting off the little things, the small things, will sometimes lead to it being or becoming a bigger problem down the road. And I've unfortunately learned that lesson a lot in life, to where it was like, oh, I'll kind of ignore that thing or that bill or whatever for now. And then it's like, kept procrastinating, and then it's like, hey, that $10 bill is now hundreds of dollars because you put it off for years or whatever and stuff. So, but it's just a situation like that. So it's like with this table, like I said, I see it all the time, and especially like it's it for me. Feel is a big thing for me, because that's why like I get annoyed sometimes, where it's like, if my floor, now, hey, I am part of the Sock Nation. Shout out to my homie Steve. part of the Sock Dads United club. But hey, it's hot here in Texas, so my feet been sockless more often lately, whatever. But I hate stepping on stuff, whatever, whether it be crumbs or toys, whatever. And kind of same thing with like touching certain surfaces or whatever. And so, like I said, for a while, that little TV tray, whatever, was like, okay, this need to be cleaned up some or whatever. And then, like I said, he made such a mess where it was like, okay, I need to clean this up a bit or whatever. And then it's like, no, I need to get this thing a good scrub down. And I took my time, just put my mind and my energy into getting that thing clean. And then it was like I said, it was kind of like therapeutic in a way, to where I was like, man, that thing that's been getting put off for a long time, whatever, it felt good to get it done. And then I had a second breaking point. Now, I can't remember if I've mentioned it lately or whatever, but it's like, we have kind of had to deal with ants more and more in recent months or whatever. And a lot of it started with uh, one of my kids. I think it was Vash was the initial culprit. Where over time, little crumbs and stuff had kind of been, falling behind stuff, or in places where it wasn't in direct eyesight or whatever. Um, and then that led to an initial wave, and then of course now, once they got their foot in the door, like a job opportunity you've been waiting for, and then it was like, oh, well, hey, somebody else in another room or whatever also had some crumbs here, or didn't clean up that, or whatever. And they ended up in my laundry area or whatever. Don't know why, because there's definitely no food in there that I know of. But that was like the final breaking of the straw, because I was running water, getting ready to, for Vash bath time or whatever. He happy, he excited, whatever. And so I'm, with ants, unlike most bugs or insects, whatever, typically if you see one or two ants somewhere, there's a chance that there is more somewhere else. They are just maybe behind a cabinet or under something where you can't see, but you found a couple of stragglers or rogue soldiers or scouts or something. And that's pretty much what happened. And so, yeah, like I said, that was just kind of like that final thing of like, yeah, it's time to get some stuff in order, for real, in order. And like I said, there's been a lot of things here and there, that's just been kind of like put off for a while or whatever. But it's like, between, like I said, like those couple small uh, things happening, and then the realization of we're close to school starting again already. it's like my family, we are so busy with the sports stuff and the traveling that requires and all the time for that, that it's like on one hand it's like okay cool, hey, okay, we finished June or whatever, but then it's like I was at track practice the other day, and we had a little parent meeting with the coach, just getting ready to talk about regionals coming up in a week or so. And one of the parents was like, man, yeah, school, starting a little early this year. And I was like, what do you mean? And they was like, well, for us, it's, early August or whatever. So I looked at the day, and it's August 10th, which is 5 weeks from when I'm recording this. So a little over 30 days. And so I'm like, man, like, there's so much I want to get done and do with my family, with my kids and stuff. And it's just like, man, like time is just flying by, man. And so, like I said, between this little stuff that's been happening around the house and then that the time realization, it's like I need to redirect and refocus myself in other areas of my life. And like I said, I've been kind of like hearing certain also other messages from like other podcasts I've been listening to. One of my favorite podcasts I love watching and listening is The Pivot, where it is three former NFL athletes that do a podcast where they have a lot of other pro athletes or celebrities or whatever on. So they've had like like Shaq and Charles Barkley. They even recently I watched the other day. They had the professor from And One basketball. Earlier today I watched one with Chris Paul. They had The Rock, Ric Flair, all these big name people, and I just love hearing the different conversations and stuff like that. And then also, of course, shout out to Professor Liquid for his podcast and stuff, and just like the discussions he had with his guests and stuff, and just hearing, like I said, a lot of things that I kind of need to hear. Some of it being wake up calls or realizations, or kind of like giving me more context for certain things I'm going through or whatever, or kind of like heads up of certain things, whatever. And so that's why I said, okay, I need to kind of pause this for a bit. And honestly, the biggest kind of sign for me for a while, which is the biggest reason why I haven't really had guests on too much this year, is because of whatever funky thing is going on with this laptop I use and my internet or whatever. Because I know it's not the internet specifically, because as I've probably mentioned before, literally every other device in my house is fine. Like I'll be recording with guests or whatever, and then my network will drop, but I don't hear nothing, nobody else in the house. And y'all know, especially you got kids, the internet go off like, oh my god, I was in a match, or hey, I was talking with my friends, or hey, I was watching the show. Where's the internet? Nothing. So I'm like, like the first few times it happened, I'm like, pop my head out my little area I'm recording, and I'm asking my wife, I'm like, is everything good? And she's still in a match on on Apex. Like, yeah, I'm good. And so I'm like, And so that's also been kind of like a real hindrance of slowing down what I really want to do, just because I might not have the biggest and best, highest quality of stuff, whatever, but I do still care about what I do. I do still care about this show, and I also still love respecting people's time and stuff. And so I know there are certain people that if I'm able to coordinate to get them scheduled to come on or whatever, I want to make sure I make their time worth it. I don't want to spend double the time trying to record something that might have been an hour is taking us 2 hours, because I'm constantly pausing, having to stop, reestablish a connection, all that jazz or whatever. And so then the person's like, man, I don't want to talk to Danny to talk anymore, and so that's kind of where I'm at with stuff, to where I'm like, you know what, all these different signs and stuff just kind of piling up of like, okay, maybe I need to get some other stuff in order. The laptop thing, whatever, I'm gonna have to just cross that bridge when I can, because I got other life priorities that need my money and stuff right now, and so I'll get that. But I think and shout out to the homie Lisa from the Wonder of Anime. She always has a saying about you know basically things happening when they're supposed to, and basically not forcing stuff to happen. Um, and I'm thinking about that because she did a very dope stream earlier today, or whatever. So make sure y'all go support and check out her work. But she was talking about like an interview she'd been trying to get lined up, but like things kept happening where there was miscommunication, or schedules not lining up or whatever on an interview that she's been wanting to do for years at this point, but she knows that it's just not meant to happen right now. And that is kind of like the point I'm trying to like look at right now with my podcast and different stuff, because like I said, I got some very very amazing guests planned and lined up. But yeah, awesome guests and stuff just like kind of on my list and ready to go. It's just like I have to just sit on it for a while, which kind of sucks. But it's also a thing of like, maybe I do need to focus my time and energy elsewhere for now, and then when I can circle back to that stuff, whatever, do it, and then maybe, hey, things will be better. Those conversations will be better for it, instead of trying to force it and stuff like that. Like I said, with the way my setup and problems and stuff is going currently, whatever. So yeah. So like I said, I might take a small like little break for a bit, because like I said, like that between, like I said, like the stuff around the house that happened today, but then really that reality check of like, man, school, it starts back in 5 weeks, and it's just like, and it's like I know those are gonna go by quick, because a lot of our schedules and stuff are planned around my kids' sports stuff, and even just in the context of that, it's like okay, we just finished this first week of July. My daughter has regional track meet next week. The week after that, my son has basketball in Vegas, and it's like that's already 3 weeks gone, which means once that Vegas trip is over, school's in 2 weeks, and so it's like, man, it's just time. Time truly waits for nobody, and I kind of need to making sure I am maximizing and getting the best out of the time that I do have, whether it be doing stuff with my family, or taking care of little things that I've been putting off around the house, or just wherever in general. Just because I don't want to, like I said, to kind of wait until it's too late, or it's a breaking point or whatever, before it's like, oh, okay, well, I should have did X, Y, and Z then, because because going back to the ants thing or whatever, like it's already gotten a little too close for comfort, just because it's like I don't want to be paranoid going to bed that they're gonna be invading my sleeping space, which luckily they haven't yet. But I'm also like, I don't want to come in here and be like, oh, I'm gonna read some Vinland Saga, or I'm gonna read some 20th Century Boys, or Magus of the Library, whatever book I'm gonna pull off my shelf, and then there'll be an ant on it. I would absolutely lose my mind if I go pick these up and flipping through the pages, and then I'm greeted with an awesome panel, but then I see an ant crawl across it. I know. We are not trying to get to that point, because I'll be devastated if they infiltrate my sacred space. But like I said, and that was just part of the conversation I had with my kids and stuff, of just communication, working together to knock out the little stuff. Because I tell my kids all the time, I'm like, I am pretty perceptive with stuff. I noticed things, which I told them, not bragging whatever, but just being honest. It's like that is why I am good at what I do at my job, and because I am in some things, whatever, not everything. I definitely have my faults here and there, but certain things I am very detailed and catch things or whatever. Because like I tell my kids all the time, like 9 times out of 10, by the time we get to the point to where I'm fussing at you of like, hey, why isn't the trash out? Hey, why is this mess here? Or hey, why XYZ whatever? More than likely, I saw whatever when it was a little bit smaller a couple of days ago, whatever. But I tell my kids for years, I'm like, y'all are getting big enough to where I can't always be there to tell you what to do or that something needs to be done. Y'all have to take the initiative to get stuff done without waiting until you're being fussed at or whatever. And also helping out each other, whatever. It's like if for the example I use, I'm like, okay, if it's my oldest son's job to get the trash out or whatever, and he's not doing it well, I'm like, well, if one of my daughters gets something, a snack or whatever, and then goes to put it in the trash, and clearly you see this trash can is overflowing, and you're just like, it's not my job, not my problem, whatever. I'll just sit this piece of paper on top, or I'll stuff it off on the side or whatever, and go about my day or whatever. And then I'm like, well, you do it, and then your other brother comes in and do it, then your other sister comes in and do it or whatever, and then somebody else is like, oh, the trash can's full. Well, I'll just sit this on the floor next to the trash can. And then it's like, all right, well, instead of you being like, hey, bro, trash is getting full. Can you take it out, or can you help me? I'll help you take it out. Whatever. Now it's I come home from work, and the first thing I see when I walk in, because of where it's located, whatever, is the trash. And so now I'm like, yo, why is this not done? And like I said, I'm like, we all have a part to play or whatever with stuff. And I'm like, just because something might be one person's chore doesn't mean that you can't do something to help, whether it be just communicating stuff, whatever, or cause I told them, I'm like, hey, it's hot, it's summertime, we need to keep the fridge full with water or whatever. I'm like, if you get the last bottle of water from the fridge and you don't go and get the pack or whatever from the pantry and then fill up with more or whatever, and you're just like, nah, screw y'all, screw everybody else, I got my cold bottle of water. But then a few hours later, oh, your sister has practice and she need water, and then she's like, oh, there's no water in the fridge, well, I'll just get it out the pantry or whatever. And it's like, we don't need to do that, especially with how hot it is now. If this is like wintertime where it's like, okay, room temperature is getting it cold from because it's wintertime, whatever, but it's summertime. It's like, no, you do not need to be drinking hot water. That's going to have a bad effect. So, but yeah, like I said, just having like those conversations and stuff with my kids and stuff, and like I said, just like having this kind of like self-reflection, because I know something that I hear a lot, or I've heard said a lot or whatever, is like, you know, your space, your environment kind of reflects how you feel in a way, which I guess, funny enough, I said I got these pile of manga that has been on the shelf for a long time, whatever, that it needs to get done. But it's just like certain things around the house. There are certain things that was in a box, packed up, whatever, sat in a corner or in a closet. That's been there for years at this point or whatever, and it's like, okay, that needs to get done. I got shirts hanging up here, whatever, that I haven't worn since 2 jobs ago, which has been before Vash was even born, and he's 5, about to be 6. So clearly, if I haven't worn most of these shirts in 6 years, I can let them go. Like stuff like that. It's like I want to get in order, because I want at the end of the day, and I was trying to stress this to my kids too. Of sometimes your space can change how you internally feel. like I said, like if you're sitting in your room with a pile of dirty clothes next to you, trash, whatever, well then that's gonna reflect internally to where you're not, man, you might not be feeling the best for it versus, hey, I have a cleaner space. I ain't gotta say it's be 100% spotless, pristine, but somewhat organized and better, then you might be able to function better and feel better and stuff. And that's what I was telling them. I'm like, okay, I'm like, okay, it's summertime. I don't mind y'all staying up late, whatever. I said, but it's about being aware of everybody else in the house. Cause it's like, okay, if hey, dad's gotta be up early to go to work to provide for the family, then okay, once it's like into a certain time of night or whatever, I'm gonna kind of quiet down, or I'm gonna go in my room, close my door, whatever, so that hey, I can still do what I'm doing quietly, or whatever, and I'm not disturbing him. Because then it's like, okay, well, dad didn't get good sleep, which affects my mind, which is one of my greatest assets, and especially in what I have to do for work, whatever. Now I'm forgetting stuff or whatever, and I'm dropping the ball at work, whatever, or just stuff in general in life. And then I told them the example of these small things adding up, everybody doing their part or not doing their part. I'm like, okay, I walk in, first thing I see, trash. All right, trash can have overflown. Where I say, okay, if that was by itself, it's like, whatever, I'll deal with that later, whatever. But on my walk from the front door to my bedroom, man, trash in the dining room is messy. Living room's a mess. Man, bathroom's a mess. Boys' room is a mess. Girls' room a mess. And then I finally reach my room. So I'm like, okay, so I've gone through the gauntlet of seeing 5, 6 different things. First thing when I walk in the door for my day of working, and then my long commute, because depending on traffic, it could be 40-minute drive, it could be an hour plus, depending on how traffic wants to be that day or whatever. So it's like, okay, work all day, hour commute home, and then I have to walk through a gauntlet of chaos and disorganization and mess before I can get to what hopefully is my little sanctuary. And then it's like I'm not in the best of mood, because I'm like, okay, y'all been here all day. It's summertime. Y'all ain't doing nothing. Why? So it just like stuff like that, like trying to impart those lessons and stuff with my kids and stuff of you know doing better and be better, just because like I said, like I try to tell them, especially as they're my older ones that are teenagers and stuff now, it's like you can't always wait or depend on me and mommy to be here to tell you to do stuff. I like, once again, I said that's why I wait, and I might let stuff slide for a few hours or a few days depending on what it is. But then eventually, if I'm having to come and be like, hey, do this, then it's bad, or hey, it's gotten to a point to where I can't hold my tongue no more. I need to speak on it. And yeah, so that's kind of where I am in a nutshell with things right now. So like I said, I might, at least kind of drop more into the background for a little bit or whatever, and kind of refocus myself in a different direction. Like I said, with school coming up in 5 weeks, and then my kids had different events and stuff we got to plan for, and then like just trying to just have a life of some sort, because it's just like the sports and stuff is so all consuming, all encompassing or whatever. And and I mentioned this on Twitter earlier, whatever. It's like yes, of course, we made that choice as a family, that this is the path that we're going to go down. So but at the same time, we are still human. We do still also have things we want to do, whatever, just the outside of just the sports stuff. Uh, and so yeah, so like I said, just trying to get all that stuff in order. So one little thing I want to read real quick, because I don't think I shared this on the podcast. This little very dope thing my daughter wrote and drew for me for Father's Day. Drew me some beautiful art and picture, and wrote me a lovely letter. She's actually done it a couple years in a row now, because I actually have one hanging up on my wall above me from, I believe, last year. Um, but this one, and of course, obviously, for those who don't know or remember, whatever, my four oldest kids, whatever, or my step kids, but she says, "Dear Robert, thank you for always being there for me. You have always loved me with your whole heart. Thank you for all that you have done and continue to do every day. I will forever be grateful for you. Love." And then she, of course, has a little joke at the end. How did Benjamin Franklin feel when he discovered the light bulb? He felt shocked, with a smiley face. So I love it, and like I said, like getting stuff like that just means a lot, and it kind of, just kind of just reaffirms to where it's like your kids are noticing what you do. They are paying attention. Even though they might not act like it sometimes, whatever, but it's like little tokens of appreciation like that they are doing on their own, matter a lot. And like I said, that's kind of why I try to impart on them the importance of like trying to like getting the discipline down and initiative to do stuff, whatever. And of course, I know all of them isn't going to do that or whatever, because everybody's different, functions differently, whatever. But one point I want to bring up too, that I had taught to them specifically. Matter of fact, my daughter that wrote me that, the one that does basketball, I had to have a conversation with her about, and with all of them again today, but it started with her a couple last week, of the conversation of sometimes what you do when nobody is watching, or when you think nobody is watching, is what matters the most sometimes, and kind of like the true reflection of who you are. Because at basketball practice, they were doing layup drills, shooting drills, whatever, and the coach had them, hey, if you miss a shot, miss a layup, whatever, you have to go and do 5, 10 push-ups, however many it was. And so so I'm off to the side in my car, just sitting, just kind of watching, whatever, and I see her go, she missed a shot or whatever, came back around. Her teammates, they're doing their push-ups or whatever. She did a 2 or 3, and then she glanced in the coach's direction and saw he wasn't looking, and then kind of like halfway did some, and then just kind of just got up or whatever. And so I told her, I'm like, hey, you think coach wasn't watching, but I'm like, hey, I was watching, but regardless of if I was watching or not or whatever, give your best effort at all times. Because like I said, like the stuff you do when people aren't watching, whatever, is just as important, if not more important, than like, oh, okay, I know mom and dad are watching, or I know coach is watching, or whatever. It's like, no, do what needs to be done regardless of who's around. Like I said, it goes to even like I mentioned earlier, stuff with cleaning and tidying stuff up around the house and all that jazz. So, but yeah, so that's all. I just needed to just kind of talk and vent and stuff, whatever. Because honestly, I'm gonna take off of work Friday, I think, because like I said, that stuff just kind of broke me in a way to where I'm like, okay, I need to pause from work. I got the PTO, so I need to take a pause from work and get some things in order in my home, so that in return I can have that peace of knowing that, okay, this is done. Certain things are decluttered, or in order, organized, whatever, and then it would all feed back into me feeling better and moving better and all that stuff, whatever. When I really need it and stuff, because like I mentioned earlier, it's like my mind, and because I talked about it like a while back on the podcast of how like my memory and stuff, whatever, doesn't feel as sharp and good as it used to be in certain aspects, whatever. But it's like sometimes I know it's like the lack of quality rest that I'm not getting or whatever. Because the other thing that kind of factors in with, once again, going back to our busy schedule with the sports stuff, whatever, I used to be well rested in past summers because when they were younger, they would be gone for either the whole 2 months of summer or big chunks at a time to their great grandma's house or whatever. Because it's like, hey, it's summertime, nobody is doing anything, whatever. Goodbye, you know. And of course, not everybody is fortunate to have that. I'm glad that we do have some family of sort to do that with, or because I definitely loved my summers going to my grandma's house or going to stay. Of course, being the youngest sibling by a big gap, going staying in my sister's house for the summer, go stay at my brother's house for the summer, go stay with aunts and uncles and whoever. Um, Over time, and so that was kind of a chance for me and my wife to have some time to ourselves to reconnect, but also each of us to have our own time. Because then my wife, would use some of that time to go travel, visit some family, whatever, in one place, or hang out with friends, whatever. And then I would, have some quiet time at home to where even if I was still having to work, I had all evening and night and stuff to rest and recuperate and unwind quietly. But then just like slowly over the years, as more and more stuff started happening, it was like, oh, okay, well, everybody is gone except for one kid because, okay, they have, track during this month or whatever, or hey, you got a basketball thing this week or whatever. And so it just kind of went from everybody being gone to uh, all but one or two to slowly now we're so busy to where it's like nobody's gone. And so it's just like all year, every day, everybody is here. And it's like, yes, I love my family, love my wife, love my kids, but we all need time and space to ourselves. That is why I am glad that where I work or whatever, my job is my escape sometimes because it's like there's on an average day there is 5 to maybe 10 people in the whole building. Like most days, it's only 3 people in my area. Sometimes five, depending on what day of the week it is or whatever. But that's why I don't mind the commute or whatever because it's like, no, I'm gonna be stationary at this one location, and I'm gonna have, for the most part, peace or whatever to kind of do my focus on my work and just have quiet time to myself versus it's like, well, my house is crazy busy, people being up late, being loud and stuff, and I'm not getting proper sleep. And okay, I get off of work, now I gotta, okay, who's got practice where, who's got a game where, who's got a track meet, who's got a tournament, and it's just go 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 at this point now where everybody is home 90% of the summer now, to where it's like, okay, my two youngest, they're not really doing much with it, so they can still here and go places here and there. But even that, it's like having the time to go take them to whoever house or whatever sometimes doesn't work out because it's like, well, I can't do it on the weekend because we got a track meet or we got a basketball tournament, and I can't do it after work because somebody has practice, and stuff. So, but like I said, all in all, it's just I want to slowly reclaim my peace back in the areas that I can control because, like I've said before, I know pretty much the next 5 to 8 years or so, whatever, probably is going to be the busiest period of our lives as a family, I think. Like I said, just because I know the sports stuff is just going to continue to accelerate and ramp up and everything else in between with that. Um, and so I want to continue to make sure I have spaces for myself where I create a calm environment where despite how crazy busy stuff is or whatever, I can come into this spot that I'm at now, or I can just come into my bedroom and have some type of peace or whatever, to just kind of recharge and refresh whatever. And that's kind of why I've been kind of going back to limiting my time on social media and stuff, whatever. Even though there's freaking new new app called Threads and stuff that's out. But I'm gonna get ready to kind of wrap this up in a little bit because I feel I'm kind of overexerting myself because it is 1 a.m. right now, and I'm still up. But like I said, I needed to talk and vent and stuff, whatever. But I feel it like it's hitting my body or whatever, and in ways that I don't like that feeling or whatever. But like I said, there'll still be some reviews and stuff, whatever, coming out that I've been excited to share with y'all and stuff. Um, and I guess in a way, like I said, this kind of also helped me kind of like just like refocus myself and what I'm doing. Like I mentioned in last week's podcast, but it's just like I want this to be a conversational place that's not just about manga and anime, like it kind of had been more focused on for a bulk of my time doing this, whatever. I want to kind of get back to. Yes, I still want to do the reviews and stuff, whatever, because I've been watching some amazing shows or whatever and stuff, and looking forward to playing some amazing games in the coming months and reading more amazing manga. But I want to do those on my own time and my own way that truly feels me, and not force stuff, whatever. I want to continue to be my own creative self and put my own spin on things, whatever. Because I know a lot of y'all come to me for different discussions on different series, and they're like, okay, Robert is talking about this, whatever. Maybe it might be worth me putting this on my radar. But yeah, so like I said, we're at the beginning of July. Lucky 7/7, July 7th. And so very briefly, I'm gonna touch on some of the stuff in passing. I'm not gonna talk on it too much, or whatever, because I'm gonna do something on this at a later date. But of course, summer anime season has started. So I have gotten to watch a few things that I'm gonna kind of shout out just super briefly. Of course, I got the shirt, so y'all know I watched the new Jujutsu Kaisen season premiere, which was awesome. I actually checked out Reborn as a vending machine, and it was actually okay. It wasn't like a horrendous train wreck like some people are making it sound out to be. But yeah, Reborn as a vending machine, it was a goof from surprisingly good looking. I'm not saying it's the best quality, but visually it looks better than I expected. What else? I watched. Of course, since I'm talking about isekais, whatever. One called "Am I Actually the Strongest?" That was a pretty fun first episode. Trash parents. uh, which I guess, let me real quick. So obviously, the Reborn as a vending machine. I now wander the dungeon or whatever. Long story short, guy ends up unironically getting killed by a vending machine that falls off the back of a truck he was riding behind on, and then gets reborn in another world as a freaking vending machine. And he can change out his items and stuff or whatever, and he meets this girl who is super strong. He helps her out with his food items and stuff, whatever, and then she ends up taking him as a vending machine back to her village, and that's kind of where the first episode ended. So okay, we'll kind of see where that goes. But so that's Am I Actually the Strongest? That one was funny because, so obviously guy gets reincarnated or whatever as a baby. He's born to this king, and this the mother is like this legendary hero or warrior or whatever. And so they do this like assessment of his power level, and then the power just shows 0 to 2. So they're like, 2, this baby is trash, this isn't our child, dispose of it. And they toss the baby into the woods to fend for itself. And so come to find out though, this world, the magic item that they use to measure power or whatever, it only shows 2 digits, but his power level is 4 digits. His power level was like 1002. Well, the thing can only show 02. Same thing some years later during the time skip or whatever, somebody else finally creates a magnitude where it shows 3 digits or whatever, but still, it's still just 002. So it's just kind of like a funny little gag to where it's like, nah, he actually is super OP or whatever, but y'all just don't have the proper tools to measure and gauge his powers. And I might as well finish talking about the isekais while I'm talking about it already. Sweet Reincarnation. So basically, this one is basically a guy who was like a pastry chef or whatever, one of the best pastry chefs or whatever in the world, dies, gets reincarnated, and basically has a dream of becoming the best pastry chef in this world, but he uses his fighting skills and stuff, whatever, to help out, blah blah blah. So Sweet Reincarnation, that they dropped 2 episodes for that one or whatever already, and it was okay. I'm gonna check it out or whatever. One that I watched on a whim was Undead Murder Farce. I always thought it said Undead Murder Face. I think that would have been a funny show considering the premise is basically one of the main characters. He is a half human, half Oni guy or whatever, and he meets this immortal lady who is a headless or a severed head immortal lady who is in search of her body, and so they're kind of going to go on a journey together to where he is going to help her find her body in exchange for a common thing they're trying to do or whatever. So that first episode was solid or whatever. Had some decent action and stuff in it. So I'm gonna keep my eyes out for that one. Um, there's other ones I'm excited to watch. Obviously, Zom 100. I've read some of the manga and I've reviewed it before, so I'm definitely excited for that one. Bleach, of course. What else? Helk. So I read the first volume of Helk. I liked it, so I'm excited to check out the anime. Same thing for Dark Gathering. That one is a horror type of series, so read the first volume of that and reviewed it. Excited to check that out. I might take a look at this Saint Cecilia and Pastor Lawrence. I don't know. It just seems like it might be an interesting show. One I will not be checking out is this probably is freaking Level 1 Demon Lord and One Room Hero. Because I read the manga for that or whatever, and I was just like, I ended up dropping it. I need to get rid of the manga. It's still taking up space on my shelf or whatever, but I almost watched the premiere episode, and I was like, Robert, what are you doing? You literally could be spending this 30 minutes you're going to watch this show that you already know you're probably not going to, the anime probably not going to change your mind from the manga or whatever, but it's like, you're really going to waste your 30 minutes doing this versus continuing something that you're already watching and enjoying, or watching something else new or whatever. So, but yeah, so there's some other stuff I'm kind of interested in checking out. Like I said, I'll report on at a later date once I've maybe watched a few episodes of some other stuff. My Happy Marriage, as well as Oku, of the Inner Chambers, cause now that one they dropped all the episodes for the season of that one on Netflix already, but and I got the first volume of the manga here, but I heard everybody who binge watched it the other day loved it, so I'm excited to check that out. Like I said, that, and then My Happy Marriage, and yeah, so those are kind of like some highlights of stuff from the season. Some other stuff I've been watching. I've still been going through and watching a Korean drama called Taiwan Class. That one's been really cool, very drama filled and stuff. I just love a good. So the setup for this show, whatever, is that basically, long story short, follows this guy who it starts off the show starts off with him in high school, whatever. He gets into an altercation with a kid at this new school he moved to, who happened to be the son of the CEO of the company that his dad has worked for his whole life. And then some unfortunate things happen where his dad ends up getting killed along the way, and he ends up going to jail behind some stuff. The son ends up going to jail behind some stuff, and then when he gets out, his plot for revenge against the people and the company that kind of did him and his family wrong and all that stuff. So, and it takes place over several years. So it's really dope. I've really been enjoying that. I've also been watching what's the anime? Why is my brain blanking? Black Summoner, Dark Summoner. I think it's Black Summoner. It's an isekai from I think this time last year, or whatever. So been enjoying that. I'm like 7 or 8 episodes into that one, whatever. So that one's been like a nice kind of like comfort watch that I've been going through. Other than that's kind of it for like what I've been actively keeping up with and stuff. Like I said, I've kind of slow down a lot of like reading manga and stuff. Cause like I said, I'm trying to like reduce juggling so many different things or whatever. I'm just trying to like focus in on fewer things so that I can for one just enjoy them more, but also if it ends up being something I'm gonna talk about or review, I want to have more focused and detailed conversations and stuff about it because I got to watch it or whatever. So that's kind of it. Oh, of course, been watching A Secret Invasion with Samuel Jackson, Nick Fury. That show's been very cool. I've been enjoying watching that every week. I just watched episode 3 a few hours ago. And I'm interested in there's a new DC animated show called, I think it's the My Adventures with Superman, I think is what it's called. I was hoping it was gonna premiere in time for me to maybe talk about it on today's show, but it's not. So that's fine. I'll just watch it whenever I get a chance. And I also want to shout out something else I want to take a look at. This this African animated series called Kizazi Moto Generation Fire. It's on Disney Plus, and it is basically a 10 episode anthology showing off 10 futuristic visions from Africa. So I'm excited to watch that. Just kind of scrolling through, looking at the thumbnails, all the different art styles and stuff, whatever. So I'm excited to check that out. And each episode is only like 15 minutes or so. I'm gonna definitely take a look at that and report on that at a later time. But yeah, aside from that, I think that might be it. Like I said, I just kind of just needed to talk for a bit or whatever, and like to just kind of explain my thoughts on just some stuff, whatever. But it's time I need to refocus and redirect my attention and time into some other places, whatever. So, like, so of course, I'll still be around on Twitter and maybe Threads on the new Instagram hybrid baby app or whatever. So I'm still going to be around to talk about stuff whatever online where possible, but also making sure I don't get too consumed. Just mindlessly doom scrolling and all that jazz or whatever. But yeah, I think that's really it. Let me just check. So yeah, and last little thing I'll say is that I'm confident in the future ahead. I know that great things are on the horizon. It's just they will come when they are meant to come. I can't force things to happen, but I know that good things are on the way, both for my life, for my family, for what I love doing here with this podcast and YouTube channel and all that fun jazz. Greatness is on the way, but I just need to be patient and buy my time. And when the stars align and the time is right, I will know I will come with full force. Like I said, especially once the day comes that I can get a better upgraded computer and all that different stuff, and like I said, get my guests rolling in and stuff, whatever. I'm gonna be unstoppable. But with that being said, it's freaking dang, it's 1:30 in the morning. I need to get off of here and get some type of rest or whatever. But I truly, truly love and appreciate everybody out there and everything that y'all do for me. Like I said, whether it's sharing my episodes, commenting, the DMs, the emails, the conversations about life and family, and all the fun, nerdy things we're watching, reading, playing, everything in between. It truly means a lot to know that I'm not on this journey alone. Even though I started this out as a solo thing of like, hey, I just need to talk about what's on my mind and my heart. The fact that there are so many amazing people out there that I've met over these couple of years, and have inspired me, have encouraged me, given me someone to talk to, whatever, truly, truly means the world to me. And so I look forward to sharing more dope conversations and just more thoughts on my mind with y'all as we continue this journey. But with that being said, I'm supposed to hop up out of here and take my butt to bed. But as always, treat yourself to something nice. Read some manga, watch some anime, TV, and movies, play some video games, and live your best life. And take care of yourselves. Real talk, real talk. Take care of yourselves. Find time for yourselves, whether you are busy with a family like me, you're a parent, or just work, or just whatever it is you're going through. Carve out a space, something for yourself, something that is for you. Because we all need it, we all deserve it. Even though we can kind of get caught up in the business of time or whatever, but also time is limited, time is precious. So make the best of the time that you have and the space and opportunities that you have, and you know, do what needs to be done. And so with that, I'm out. I will catch you on the next one. Make sure to hit me up everywhere at Dad Needs to Talk. And y'all have an awesome day. And I will catch y'all whenever the next time is. Until then, peace.